What the fuck is Moe? I seem to be some kind of Moe aficionado, according to the rest of the world, according to the internet, according to people who look at my favorite anime and say that those are Moe anime and you're a Moe man, you like Moe, you just like stuff because it's Moe. I don't even really understand what Moe is. Now look, it's not unfair to say that I'm a Moe guy or a Moe expert because there was once upon a time when I considered myself as such way back in the day. There was a time when I believed in the idea of Moe and what I thought it represented, and I had my own thoughts about it, and I spent a long time deliberating about it. I spent a lot of time thinking about Moe because it meant different things to different people. You know, if you go read a Wikipedia entry on it, if you go listen to someone try to give a history lesson on Moe, it doesn't really get to the heart of what Moe has been. Because yes, Moe originated from something like the word moeru, the burning or the budding sensation, the idea of like young girls blossoming or whatever the hell that says on Wikipedia. But like, how was it used? What did people mean when they said Moe? And are they still meaning the same thing? Or does it even mean anything? Because personally, I think Moe is dead. I think it's a dead term. I think that Moe is only used, really, by people who don't like Moe. It's mostly used as a derogatory slang for a style of art these days. Because it used to be that the idea of Moe was you saw something and you felt Moe. That was the idea. You looked at like a cute girl doing something that is Moe and you thought, oh, Moe. You know, that was the old cliche. The old, like, you'd see in anime where like an otaku would see a cute girl and he'd say Moe, and that's kind of the original joke. You know, like that's what it is. It's almost like a meme. From the beginning. It was never a genre, it was never an art style, it was just a feeling. And I mean, the art style evolution of anime, that's kind of a separate being from what Moe is, I think. You know, you can talk about how, like, cute girls developed over time and how if you look at, like, something like, you know, Minmay from Macross, I saw her on a thumbnail of some video about Moe, about anime every day that I didn't bother sitting through. Or like, you know, if you look at like the designs of Kenichi Sonoda, you can like kind of see this is heading in that direction, you know, late 80s, early 90s, these bigger eyes, these cuter girls, though the genres of those manga would probably be, those are the shows that would be enjoyed by people who would definitely say they hate Moe these days, you know, like, it's just, the art style has its own evolution, but to me, Moe was more a term that came about in like the visual novel days, in like the era when there was shows about like cute girls who had some really specific character trait, you know, the whole like database era where like there was a character who's like, this one's the tsundere, this one's the one who's clumsy, this one's the glasses girl, this one's the class president, you know, and that's like their Moe attribute, you know, like there was a thing that you had a Moe for, kind of. Like, I have a glasses Moe, a glasses fetish, as it would have been translated in the official subtitles for Haruhi, as I remember. They translated Moe as like fetish, I think. Something to that effect. Like, Moe was, again, it was like an individual thing. There was no broad, greater Moe. It was just like individual things are Moe. A character can be Moe. An attribute can be Moe. A feeling towards a thing can be Moe. Now, I once tried to define Moe as the feeling of wanting to see a character succeed. Of that feeling when the character has some kind of weakness that you want them to overcome. A lot of people used to always say it was the desire to protect them. People used to say Moe was when you see a girl and you think, I want to protect her. And I get that, but I also think that it's the same feeling doesn't have to involve you. You know, like in the classic visual novel sense, it was more about like, you know, you were the protagonist. The protagonist in a visual novel is usually a self-insert. And you've got a cute girl who's sort of either clumsy literally or clumsy emotionally or just in a bad situation, and you want to get them out of it. That was the Moe, you know, the struggle. But then, after that era ended, visual novels kind of waned in the late 2000s, and we started getting more shows that are like about cute girls doing cute things alone with no male intrusion, where there's no like self-insert. And in that era, it started to be more like Moe is about wanting to see them, wanting to see them grow, wanting to see where they can go. When I first came up with this theory, it was because I had just watched Saki. And Saki was like a cute girls playing mahjong show where like there is no like there's lots of Yuri shipping and stuff, which was becoming a big thing at the time that show was airing. More of like the just cute girls being close together, and they all want something. They have a goal they're trying to aspire to, and the moe is the feeling of watching them and wanting them to succeed and wanting them to win. But then, as time's gone on, I really just think that moe has stopped really meaning anything. Because, again, no one says it the way they used to. It's not a thing where people are standing around going, moe anymore. Like, that meme is dead. The meme of people actually liking something and calling it moe because they like it is gone. The only time that people use the word moe now is to insult something. To say it's not my thing. To say, oh, you just like moe shit. Oh, that art style is just moe. It's just pandering. It's just whatever. Like, moe has such a negative connotation to it now that who would associate themselves with it? Who would willingly say, yeah, I like moe? Because to at this point, moe just means a thing that's not good, Like, when I think about the idea that K-On! Is a moe anime, I have to think that the only reason that anyone would say so is because of the art style. Like, K-On! Has little in common with the kinds of shows that I would have thought of as moe back in the day, like, like Canon or Air or something, like the visual novel adaptations, the ones where each girl has a personality quirk and they slot into a little archetype and you feel you're supposed to, they make weird noises at the end of their sentences, and it's all about presenting like the cutest, most like otherworldly, almost non-human character that's just a moe blob. Like, that term moe blob to me meant like unrealistic. Like, this is not a person. This is just an entity crafted to suit the tastes of a viewer, which seems like a negative connotation. Not to say that you couldn't write a compelling character who is also tailored to suit the needs of a viewer, but then this would not at all describe K-On!, a show that people accuse of having moe blobs, even though in K-On! The characters are far more realistic. They have far more, like, they just kind of act like people, like individuals. Like, they look cute, they talk cute, like, it's a cutesy show for sure, but it's not like tailored to anybody. The characters don't have these like slot in personalities that are like, this is obviously meant for this viewer, like, there is no, like, Yui does not fit some archetype that you can easily slot 50 other characters into and just say, like, if you like this type of character, here you go, Like, there is none of that in the show. And I would even say that that's partly just because of the anime. Like, I do think that the original manga is a little bit closer to trying to be a moe thing, whereas the anime kind of takes it and moves it in a different direction, particularly as it goes along. I understand why, if you just watched episode 1 of K-On!, you might think it was going more for the moe thing, but, if you continue, you'll quickly realize it doesn't really do that. But then I have to think, well, if K-On!'s not moe, even though it's like the poster child for moe, then what is moe now? Is it just an art style? Is it just cute girls with big eyes? Because then I've got to ask, well, is Gunslinger Girl a moe anime? Because it's got cute girls with big eyes. It's also like one of the most hardcore, 90s action spectacles out there. I mean, would you not say Minnie May's a moe girl? She's a 15-year-old fucking prostitute. Like, is Gunslinger Girl moe? Like, this serious, in-depth psychological series about, like, girls murdering people? Like, is it moe just because they're cute? Is that all it means? Is moe just when the girls are cute? Is that it? Because that's what it seems like. I mean, if you're going to talk about, like, a show like High School Fleet that I talked about, in my videos on the top 20 anime of 2016, where people were accusing me of being having so much moe on my list. Well, High School Fleet is a show about a bunch of cute girls, certainly. They're commanding a battleship. Most of the series is action. There's, I guess, a little bit of fan service. I guess you could say the girls all just kind of have cutesy personalities. None of them are very deep. But, I mean, the show is an action show. It's not a moe show. I don't know what that would mean. What would that constitute? Someone was saying I had too much moe, and they commented something to the effect of, like, I said, well, what's moe to you? And they were like, well, it's, shows about characters sitting around doing nothing or something like that. And I was like, well, that doesn't describe High School Fleet. It's an action show. Doesn't even describe Saki. That's a sports anime. Is it an art style? Is it a genre? Is it a feeling? Who feels it? Who still says moe? Who sincerely feels moe towards something? Like, I'm sure there are some people who have an understanding of it. I mean, every once in a while, maybe I'll see something and think, yeah, that's that feeling. I remember that. I remember thinking about moe at a time and place. Maybe someone still feels that way. But it's so unhelpful. It's such an unhelpful term. It really doesn't deserve to exist at all. Like, where do we get by using the word moe? Where do we get? In this world where everyone has different meanings for it. Some people think it's a genre. Some people think it's an art style. Some people will throw things under the bus. Shows under the bus for having girls with big eyes. Oh my god, it's moe. Therefore, it's like a pandering, disgusting, otaku bait show. Never mind what the fuck it's about. Who cares? Girlish Number? Are we really gonna call that a moe anime? It's a show that's like where all the characters are huge assholes. They're all like totally just like mean-spirited, bad people. None of whom is like has cutesy traits. I mean, they're all cute girls. Yes, they are literally drawn to look cute, but their personalities are all cynical and angry. They're all in their 20s. Like, some people might not think they look like they're in their 20s because, I don't know, people have weird judges about art. Like, people think it's like if you looked at, I don't know a good comparison to draw this to, but like, it's an art style. It's not like the characters are supposed to look realistic anyways. The art style is cutesy. Yeah, the characters are, they might be, the ages attached to them might be older than what you might think they look like, but that's because the art style is different, not because they're supposed to look like children, That aside, these are older characters, cynical characters. They don't have any of the moe traits. In fact, you don't even want to see them succeed. I didn't want to see Chitose succeed. I was so glad that she failed. Maybe she could be said to have some moe in the later part of the show when she has to sort of pick herself up. There's a little tinge of that old school moe feeling in there when she's, developing a little as a character, maybe getting somewhere and you can go, oh, you know what, Chitose, I do want to see you. I want to see you get better. That would be nice, Maybe there's a little moe in there after all. But, like, is that what people are saying when they say that it's a moe show? Or are they saying the girls have different hair colors and too big of eyes? I don't like this art style. This is moe. It's just another moe shit. It's just exactly the same as K-On! Yeah, totally. I would definitely put those two in the same genre. Girlish Number and K-On!, two shows with nothing alike in terms of their sense of humor, or pacing, or characterization, or storyline. None of it's similar, but you know what? They're both moe, so it's all the same. Fuck moe, fuck the whole concept of it. I'm sick of it. I just want it to go. I don't really see myself as a moe fan. I don't see myself, I'm not someone who likes a show just because it has cute girls. You can look at my dropped list and you can find 1,000 cute girl shows. If anything, it's a genre I am more harsh on than most because of the fact that I've seen so fucking much of it that I'm very quick to get sick of them. It's only when they do something interesting, when they do something new and different, and just by sheer virtue of most of anime having cute girls in it, it's not hard for the few good shows to come out of the 80% of all anime that is ones which have cute girls in them. So I don't know what the fuck you expect from a top 20 list other than for there to be a few shows with some cute girls in them, But they're all interesting and different in their own ways, So, yeah. I just that's my Moe spiel. I don't get what the term means anymore. I know what it meant to me at a time. Even then, it didn't mean that to everybody. Everyone had their own ideas of it. Everyone's always had their own ideas of it. And I don't even think ultimately that it ever mattered all that much. I don't think Moe was ever like a cultural movement in as much as like a specific thing that certain things were, and everyone understood it differently, and now no one understands it at all.